best. Let Citi relieve your stress, so yes. Let the music soothe your soul and keep it going just to refresh. Buckle and enjoy the ride from 2 to the half of the 5. Mondays to Fridays, happening live. When we gon' have a ball, you can text your guys. Let me tell you what you really gotta do. You can count on us, we come through. We got everything you need, that's true. Are you ready for the traffic avenue? Let me tell you what you really gotta do. You can count on us, we come through. We got everything you need, that's true. An applause for the traffic avenue.
Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh, the Traffic Avenue. Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh, Traffic Avenue.
94, 95, 96, 97.3 Citi FM. It doesn't get any better than that.
Detailed news, unparalleled coverage. City News on 97.3 FM.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
City News. It's 17:30 GMT. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. I am Umar Rusanda Amado. Tonight, I'm here with
Ejubi Wiafe Akente.
And coming up over the next 90 minutes, Ghana Audit Service clears civil servant Frank Kudu of receiving 400 million cedis in an earned salary. But is that enough to cleanse his image after the apparent reputational damage? We'll be interrogating that matter here on Eyewitness News tonight. Also coming up, over 100 courier service providers have their bikes seized over issues having to do with lack of proper documentation. We'll be hearing from the Commission. And later on Eyewitness News,
the president must choose, and he must choose publicly. Does he stand with the OSP or he stands with the campaign to destroy the OSP?
That's the minority's position after calling a press conference today on the beleaguered Office of Special Prosecutor. Stay with 97.3 CTFM for more on this and many other stories on Eyewitness News. And in business,
Chamber of Mines renews calls for government to abolish growth and sustainability levy.
That's in 15 minutes from the Citi Business Desk. Eyewitness News is live across Ghana on a number of affiliate stations and around the globe on citinewsroom.com. The show is interactive. Join us on WhatsApp 0549 986 996 0549 986 996. On Twitter, now known as X, mention my handle at Umar Rusanda or at Citi973. Ejubi has our first story.
The Minority Caucus has accused the government of making deliberate attempts to abolish the Office of the Special Prosecutor, OSP. Addressing journalists, the Member of Parliament for Gushegu and Deputy Ranking Member on the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee, Alhassan Tampuli, outlined what he described as a series of actions by members of the NDC aimed at undermining the OSP.
3rd December, Martin Kpebu was detained and subsequently released. On 8th December, Majority Leader and Majority Chief Whip came by a private member's motion and bill to repeal the OSP. 10th to 11th December, President Mahama publicly rebukes and says that they must discontinue. 12th December, the very same day, the minority called for the resignation of the leaders of the majority bench. One Noah Adamte files a suit at the Supreme Court. 25th December to 1st January, a coordinated campaign of petitions were mounted against the OSP. On 26th January, Chief Justice Bafoboni determines that not a single petition had a prima facie value. 27th January, the Supreme Court dismisses the OSP's application to be joined as a party to the Adamton suit. On 8th April, Attorney General files submission at the Supreme Court siding with the plaintiff, Adamton. 15th April, exactly 1 week later, the High Court grants a quo warranto to Peter Hyde and declares OSP's prosecutorial powers null and void. This is not a sequence of coincidence. It is a campaign, and the minority names it as such. The minority will be failing in its duty if it did not say plainly and with the force of moral outrage what all of this means for the character of the NDC government and the promises it made to Ghanaians.
The minority also urged the OSP to immediately file a stay of execution at the High Court to challenge a directive ordering the Attorney-General to take over all ongoing criminal prosecutions handled by the office.
Act 959 remains valid and in force. The OSP's mandate continues in full. We urge the OSP to continue his work, not to be intimidated or operationally paralyzed by a ruling that is itself constitutionally void for want of jurisdiction. The minority stands firm with the OSP's stated position. All prosecutions commenced and about to be commenced by the OSP remain valid, and the office must proceed on the basis of its statutory mandate until the Supreme Court says otherwise. The demands of the minority. The High Court ruling must be immediately challenged and stayed, and we call on the OSP to immediately appeal the decision of the High Court and immediately also apply for a stay of execution at the High Court. And we dare also add that he must also proceed to the Supreme Court with a writ of certiorari to quash the decision of the High Court. 2, we call on the Supreme Court to expedite its determination in Adamte versus the Attorney-General. The Supreme Court question must be resolved definitely and authoritatively by the courts alone, by the court that alone has jurisdiction to resolve it.
The minority also demanded that the Attorney General be summoned before Parliament over the development.
This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. So that interview was, that press conference was addressed by Alhassan Tampuli, the Member of Parliament for Gusau. He's also the Deputy Ranking on the Committee of Parliament, which is in charge of constitutional and legal affairs matters. Honorable, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you very much, Morris, and good evening to your listeners.
I'm going to ask you a question that may put you in a tight corner. The members of your party generally have issues with Kisi Ejabin, the special prosecutor. In fact, when he started prosecuting the former finance minister, or attempted to prosecute the former finance minister, there were lots of party members who thought that he was a sellout, he was appointed by Kuvado and wasn't doing his job. A lot of MP people thought he should go. And if I went to social media, I would find a lot of social commentary from your party members asking for him to be fired. Now, it appears someone is removing him and his office from existence, and yet you've had the need, or you've seen the need, to call a press conference to jump to his defense. How do you manage these two positions from your party? One, you are supporting his existence. Another breath, you are also asking for his removal.
Thank you very much. I think that is where there's confusion in the minds of people. What we are doing has nothing to do with the person of the special prosecutor. It has to do with the office of special prosecutor and not the personality of the occupant of the office. So we are saying that an architecture has been put in place to deal with corruption and corruption-related cases. And at any point in time, somebody will occupy that office. If the person falls short of the expectation of the generality of Ghanaians, there are processes in place under law for us to deal with that person. Now, what we are discussing right now has nothing to do with whether or not Honorable Kisi Ejabin should continue to remain in office as special prosecutor. But I'm talking about the oxygen that created that office. Now, the attempts are being made to take the oxygen off the office, and that is what we think is wrong.
Okay.
So we have to distinguish between these two.
And
there are people from the NDC side who also think and agree that there is absolutely nothing wrong with the office of the special prosecutor. They probably also have issues with the special prosecutor. So either way, there are two different schools of thought, but we have to be very clear in this discussion The discussion is about whether or not the office of special prosecutor should remain as it is, or it should be dissolved by virtue of the fact that some people say it is unconstitutional.
So your position as minority is that the office should remain as is, even if there is a problem with the one heading, is the office at least is relevant for our purpose as a country?
Absolutely.
But what about the other view that the office is as good as the officer, and that if you have difficulties with the officer, and again the office hasn't necessarily yielded as many results, and there's someone else who can execute the functions that this office is executing, was a need, and that this will amount to duplicity to some extent?
You see, there are times that we have had issues with Director-General of CID. Nobody ever said that the office of the CID Director-General can be dissolved. Nobody has said when there is a bit of high-handedness on the part of the Director-General of BNI. We never hear anybody saying that the BNI should be collapsed. Or when the Iroko, for instance, in the Rambosa arrest people, they detain them beyond 48 hours. We never hear anybody talking about the fact that Iroko should be dissolved. How is it that a body that has just been set up 7-8 years ago, all of a sudden has developed a certain culture and work ethics that we can judge them on the basis of their 7-8 years performance? And within that period, we have had 2 people occupying that office. We cannot conclude that a certain pattern has evolved over time. We need to give the office time and space to grow into what we want it to be. Of course, we don't have to be just bystanders, spectators. We have to be active participants in the fashion out of the office of the special prosecutor, so that when they move anytime outside and every little incursion outside of their mandate, Ghanaians should be able to point it out to them. And that's how we shape and build institutions of state. Not because somebody has done something wrong, then immediately let's pull out the office. I mean, that is considerable. I mean, so for instance, we say that the managing director of ECG, there is no line and everything, so ECG should be collapsed. I'm not sure this argument really holds.
What if there's someone already someone or something that is playing the similar role to what ECG is playing? And so that's why, for instance, when PDS was not working, we gave it back to ECG, which was already there anyway.
You see, let me give you one very good example. When the current Attorney General took office, he entered Nole Prosecutor for a number of cases. And most of the cases had to do with, persons who were politically exposed or who were elements of the ruling party right now. Okay? Now, I'm not too sure whether you've seen the OSP law. The OSP law says that you can't just go and enter Nole Prosecutor. You must give reasons. You must convince Ghanaians that this entry of Nole Prosecutor is one that is grounded in some reasons. And every 6 months, you have to come and report to the Ghanaian people that. So those are some, inadequacies in the architecture that we have right now. So they've identified it, and then we've given that power to somebody else. If you allow the Attorney General, for instance, to have taken these people that he entered an early prosecutor, if, for instance, the Attorney General was minded to keep the cases going on, I'm not sure a lot of Ghanaians would have concerns. But you see, the challenge is that an Attorney General who sits in cabinet with his colleagues, some are not in cabinet but are occupying other government agencies, and others are in the public service generally. They are party people. It's difficult for any Attorney General to say that he's going to prosecute his colleagues just like that. So in order for us to find a way that, the Attorney General will not find himself in a very tight situation, cases of corruption and corruption-related matters should be prosecuted by the special prosecutor. What is the difficulty?
Okay. I noticed
Over the years, we Ghanaians have seen, and history has shown very painfully and repeatedly that you will never find an Attorney General who would decide once he's in office to prosecute a colleague. Tell me where you've seen that before in this country. Hardly. It's only when people leave office that you find out they are being prosecuted. Is that not the case?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but there are exceptions.
That is because the structure that we have right now is not efficacious. It's not solving the problem.
We didn't have OSP when Mahama was president in his first tenure, but we saw his appointees prosecuted by his Attorney General, and he ended up in jail.
Who?
Oh, the former member of Parliament, Abuga Pele.
Abuga Pele, yes. So how many?
Former MP for
Abuga
China.
Pele and who?
No, I'm just saying that it comes down to the leader.
And I'm saying that there were not more cases of corruption even during that time. But the Attorney General was not minded to prosecute them. You understand? So let's be very, very realistic. Look, Attorney General is a human being. He has a relationship with people. And so the Attorney General can decide, look, please, this one, let it pass me by. Maybe some other person should come and do it, but not me.
Okay.
Yeah, he may see that there's wrongdoing, all right, but he won't be the one to do that.
Okay. I noticed you invited the president to take a position on this matter. He's the head of the executive. You want the president to now descend and start deciding for the judiciary how they should deal with matters of legality of offices or otherwise?
No. The president should take a position on whether or not the office of the special prosecutor should go as being posited by the Attorney General. Attorney General has taken a position.
But the president took a position. That's why he told his MPs to withdraw that private members.
Exactly. But now, with the statement of case that has been filed by the Attorney General, I believe sometime on the 8th of April, it suggests that there is a change in position. The Attorney General does not work in a vacuum. He is an appointee of the president. And let's not make mistakes about it, thinking that the Attorney General is independent like that. No. Attorney General also serves at the pleasure of the president. So he cannot just move without getting the backing of the president. And we are saying that in view of the position that the president has taken previously, which is to the effect that the office should stay, and that he doesn't see anything wrong with that, and that's the only independent prosecutorial institution that we have in this country. And vis-a-vis what we are seeing today, there is some confusion. And we want the president to state exactly where he stands. And this president has not hidden his position on a lot of issues in the public domain. Even Mahama, he responded. So the president responds to almost everything that is happening in the country. And we think that it is one of the occasions that the president should be able to speak.
Meaning you're acknowledging indirectly that Mahama is a listening president?
I'm not saying he's a listening president, but I'm saying that he speaks about everything that is happening in the public space.
So he listens. He listens and reacts.
Well, that's your judgment. But I'm saying that we have heard him speak about a lot of issues, and this one should be one of them.
Thank you so much, Honorable Alhassan Tampuli.
I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity to speak to you.
That's the Deputy Ranking Member on the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee of Parliament. He's MP for Gusau and former Deputy Minister. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. On the point of view on Channel 1 television last night, the Deputy Attorney General, Dr. Sremsai, appeared and had a conversation with Bernard Kokwavle, who's the host. Let's listen to some of the responses he gave to the questions relating to the OSP.
You cannot use an ordinary legislation to hive off something that has been given by the Constitution.
Okay.
You have to use the constitutional amendment process to achieve that hiving off. So that is so, even though the desire is to hive off, you need to follow the process or the procedure for hiving off.
Or carve out, designate some of.
Yes, so if you don't use that process and you are using another process, then again it goes back to the issue of constitutionality.
So in your view, an EI must be, an executive instrument must be issued to allow the OSP to have the mandate or the authority to do its work?
So it's a bit more complex. Let me just try to break it down. There's no one in this country, I've not seen any lawyer in this country who believes that you can create an independent prosecutorial authority without amending the Constitution. In other words, every lawyer with, like every proper lawyer, agrees in this country. I think among all lawyers, regardless of their age at the bar, they all agree that to be able to create an independent constitutional, prosecutor, I mean the independent prosecutorial authority, you need to amend Article 88 to carve out that, because currently as it stands, all prosecutorial power vests in the Attorney General alone. So if you want to be independent of him, what you need to do is to go and amend Article 88 to achieve that result. Now, without amending Article 88, you have a situation where the OSP Act is saying that you have to prosecute on the authority of the Attorney General. So then it means that, desirable as the independence will be, all of us want that, but you cannot achieve it by using an ordinary legislation to hive off the power.
No, but I understand what you're saying. But the point is, we are nitpicking on the word independence, right? Because I've already told you that there are three types of independence. So the prosecutorial issue, the prosecutorial independence is the main issue here.
Yeah, that's the only issue.
IOCO is financially independent of the AG, right? So IOCO can be said to be an independent arm of government.
Investigative,
yes,
but they are not
with delegated prosecutorial power.
Yes.
So if we wanted OSPs to be completely independent, we would have called it Office of the Independent Prosecutor. But we're calling it Office of the Special Prosecutor. So the point is that maybe you are also choosing how to interpret the independence. Because you could have easily said, let's issue an EI for you. Because if you can give an EI to police, and you can do an EI for IOCO and SNIT, why can't you give the OSP an EI to allow it to prosecute corruption and corruption-related matters?
We have not refused to give the OSP.
No, but you're saying you are saying that you think that all lawyers feel like for OSP to be independent, they need a constitutional amendment of 88.
Let me just say what I said.
That's what you're saying.
Yes. So if you want the OSP, to be independent of the Attorney General,
correct,
and would not require the Attorney General's authorization, then you need to amend Article 88.
Correct.
However, as in this act, where you said the OSP requires the authorization of the Attorney General, then that authorization must be given before the OSP can function as a prosecutor. The process for getting that authorization is for you to apply, and then you are given. That is how it is done. But the OSP is refusing to apply because it believes that it doesn't require it and that it is truly independent. It's easy to apply for. It's a letter. In fact, it took the OSP more energy to litigate Hyde and all the other cases than to just apply. But so ask yourself, why are they not applying?
Did IOCO apply for?
Yeah, they apply all the time. In the case of IOCO,
so did they apply on a case-by-case basis?
No, not on a case-by. On IOCO's part, they actually apply, and then we take the names of the lawyers that will be exercising the power and give them the EI. So it's not
a year of how long does the authorization apply?
For as long as the person is with IOCO, you will have that authority to apply, to exercise.
I see. So for IOCO, you issue an EI for specific lawyers. I don't understand.
So IOCO's case, not all the lawyers there are able to prosecute or initiate prosecution. We have given those who have it, we give them the authority to do.
Okay.
In the police service, the general classification.
Yeah.
From a certain rank, you can. So that is why you need the EI too. So you need to apply and specify the nature of your institution and how the power should be given. Then we'll give it in accordance with that.
I see.
But you see, the issue is not even about applying or not. The question is, why? Let's ask ourselves, why is it difficult for the OSP to apply? Because it's just a letter. It is difficult because the OSP doesn't believe that it ought to apply. And so it believes that it has attained that Article 88 kind of independence. And that is where we are. We are saying, if you read our submission,
but if the OSP believes it is independent, why does it accept nomination by the? Because don't forget, there's an office and the person.
Yes, I'm talking of the office.
So the independence. So see, the authorization is for the person. The special prosecutor, not the office.
Yeah, for the prosecution, it's only human beings that can do the prosecution.
So my point is that you have, if the OSP believe that they are independent of you, then it will be an absurdity for them to even be birthed by your nomination.
Exactly the point. So you have yes. So because that is their position, so they don't even see why.
No, my point is that once they've accepted the nomination, it means that they do understand that they have a relationship with you. And that they were birthed by you. So they have received the mandate to prosecute on the basis that you wrote a law and you nominate the person, because the power is to the person. And once you nominate the person, that authorization is deemed to have been given.
Yeah, I would like to agree. I actually agree with your view. Yeah. But there's another view, which is that you nominating me, you are only performing administrative function.
Come on.
Yeah, I mean, that is the only reason why they will say they will accept the nomination and not be willing to apply to be given the fiat.
You've nominated me to be a special prosecutor. That is a position to do a function.
Yeah.
So it means that, like what you do for the Yoko lawyer, you are saying that the human being occupying the position by this nomination has been authorized to prosecute. That's my understanding. We'll take a break.
Yes, I mean,
I'm not a lawyer, but this is the way I see it.
Yeah, I like your understanding as well.
So that's Dr. Shremsai, his Deputy Attorney General, speaking to Bernard Kokwavle on the point of view on Channel 1 television last night. Do we have more stories related to this matter, AGB?
More stories from the OSP.
From the OSP, okay.
Yes, because cases are facing setbacks after a High Court ruling that nullified this prosecution. The issue arose during the alleged extortion case involving former Chief Executive of the National Petroleum Authority, Mustafa Hamid, which was set for a case management conference. In court, the defense cited an earlier ruling directing the Attorney General to take over all OSP prosecution, arguing the office lacks the legal mandates to continue. OSP prosecutors oppose the claim, noting they have filed for a stay of execution.
This Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi. When we return, I'm sure you have seen a story that a certain Frank Oliver Kodu has earned as much as 400 million cedis, and he's not supposed to have earned that in salary, according to the Auditor-General, and this was published by the Fourth Estate as an expose. Tonight, eggs in the face of the Auditor-General, and maybe the media house that reported it. Mr. Oliver Kodu is planning to go to court. What will be his case? We'll be hearing from his lawyer when we come back.
Be there as it happens. The World Cup is coming, and this time you're not just watching it, you're living it. Match Experience Hospitality is giving you front row access to football's biggest stage in absolute style. Think VIP stadium seating, exclusive lounges, gourmet dining, and priority access. No stress, no hassle, just pure football luxury. This isn't just a ticket. This is the World Cup experience. With over a decade as an official FIFA sales agent, Match Experience Hospitality knows exactly how to turn a match into a lifetime memory. So upgrade your World Cup. Call 055-155-1119. Visit matchexphospitality.com or walk into any Absa Bank branch, our official banking partner today. Match Experience Hospitality. Don't just watch the game, live it. Match Experience Hospitality is doing this with Absa Bank as its official banking partner and Glyco as your official travel insurance partner.
Electroland Ghana Limited, ye mamo achedie kesio. We ye de maye dwedi fa wo mni ye dini ye o. Esansa mu no kredi aso ye ninti. Ye mamo achedie kesie pa. Achedie kesia ye de ma wo enemy. Every Accra Ekwatamali. Ghana fa na nyina. Electroland eye number 1. Ne hiane sa wo beto Samsung, TCL, Media eni Nasco niama ewo Electroland showroom. Eni anamo si fa wo mo Ghana fa na nyina. Announcer dial *928*8888 hash. Ube to miss wako register.electrolandraffles.com. Ana boye na watching ye busumi akrade yibi. Na wetimi enya chedie kesie pa. Free TVs, ACs, fridges, gas cookers, washing machines, sound towers, mobile phones, any keka ho ye de Emma won kwa. Jumedi NLA Characters platform no ajiatu. Kaisa inshishe kakra wo ho. Electroland Ghana, rewarding your loyalty the big way.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Yeah, welcome back. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Let's talk about a story that was published, and let's talk about a story that was published by the Fourth Estate, and it has to do with a gentleman known as Frank Oliver Kodo. The Fourth Estate published a story that he received as much as 400, or actually more than 400 million cedis in an earned salary, and we are told that Mr. Kodo is not happy now that the Auditor-General has come to apologize and also issue a counter statement saying that it was a transpositional error. Let's speak to Prince Ganaku, his lawyer for Frank Kodo. Mr. Ganaku, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Omar, good evening, and thanks for having me.
Thank you. First of all, how did your client see this story? How did he receive it upon first sight? What was his reaction? Then I'll ask you about his reaction now that the Auditor-General is saying it was a wrong publication.
So, thanks for your question, and good evening to your listeners. So, I would say that when the story was published, we were all quite dismayed. I would say dismay was the reaction, simply because, the Fourth Estate had contacted, my client over the weekend, I think it was on Sunday, that this was something that was going on, and then they wanted to speak to him about it. So in that conversation, when the issues were put to him, he expressed some surprise and worry about the revelation, and he's point blank that it couldn't have been possible because he was paid from Comptroller and Accountant General, and that he had his pay slips available. The reason he mentioned that he was paid from Comptroller and Accountant General is that, usually with unearned salaries, what tends to happen is that maybe a person doesn't exist, or a person has left post, and because of bureaucracy, that information hasn't gone to the appropriate quarters, and that person is still getting paid. What does not happen is that a person, a civil servant, will receive salary that far exceeds the president's, or salary that is equivalent to the salary of an MP for 20 years, per month. So a 20-year salary of an MP per month for 29 consecutive months, and it will go on undetected. That's not something that happens. The chances of that happening are infinitesimal. So when he said, I am paid by Comptroller and Accountant General, and I have my pay slips available, he was trying to communicate that something could have gone wrong somewhere. It couldn't be. So, he presented this information to the journalist that contacted him, but it was on a Sunday. Naturally, he couldn't get the pay slips. It did not be in a working day. And then Monday morning at 10 a.m., while the application for the pay slips was pending, while the application for the bank statements was pending, the article is published in terms that strongly suggested the guilt of my client. So, for all of us, who were following the matter in the background, we were genuinely surprised because this is not journalistic practice that we are, accustomed to. So, yes, I would say that his reaction was surprise and some grief at, what was occurring. Now, I would say that the reaction is one of relief. It doesn't undo the harm that has been caused. So many people have seen it. Screenshots have gone all around the world. So many calls have come to you. It doesn't undo the harm that has been caused. But at least the relief is that tomorrow morning when you wake up, your kids do not look at you. And if somebody puts something to you, you have, evidence that, look, this didn't happen and I have been exonerated. So it's relief at this stage.
How much of damage to the reputation do you think your client has suffered?
Immense damage. I would only it's a pity that well, I wouldn't say it's a pity. It's a good thing that the post has been taken down now. But I would have referred you to the post on the platform formerly known as Twitter, so that you would go see the quote tweets and the replies. People calling my client a thief, people calling him a greedy politician, people calling for his death, people sending him the posts from all over the world. The reputational damage has been incredibly. I cannot even find that. It's been huge. And it's particularly how the article was written. The article began by sort of making firm statements as to his guilt, that he has done this. Then it invites the opinions of experts who speculate as to what could have happened based on an assumption that he is guilty. So they say he must have had accomplices. He's just the face. There are other people behind. And then it's only towards the tail end, at the bottom of the article, where they say that he expressed surprise and worry as to, regulations, without even mentioning that he had his pay slips and he was willing to offer, those pay slips to exonerate himself. So there was no mention of the exculpatory evidence. In those circumstances, you would see that persons of ordinary intelligence, as you would have seen, on social media this morning, immediately assume that this person is guilty, because it is coming from a source that is believed to be credible. So the reputational damage has been immense. I don't know to what extent it would have been cured by the statement that was made today, and I'm grateful that I'm talking to you, and you are going to spread this far and wide that he has been exonerated. But the reputational damage has been immense.
Now he's planning to go to court.
I mean, naturally, especially because of how egregious we find the conduct of the fourth estate to have been. It's one thing if he had done it. It's another thing if the fourth estate had just said that our attorney is not explaining this. But that's not what the Auditor-General, the fourth estate did not serve as sort of secretaries or mouthpieces for the Auditor-General. That's not what happened. The way that the article was framed, and even the post on Twitter, the way that it was framed in a way to prime people to believe in his guilt. And given the reputational harm that he has suffered, the questions that his kids have had to face in school, he is definitely considering legal action against the fourth estate. Being that he's a government employee, I don't want to speak on his behalf, regarding whether or not he has an action against the Auditor-General. I don't want to go there. That would be for the client. But I can tell you for a fact that in our conversations all through the day, the question of when and how to institute the action against the fourth estate has come up, and we will be discussing the same after this call. So
for now, you're going with an action against fourth estate. You are not certain if it would also include the Auditor-General.
Yes.
And the action against the fourth estate will what? Publication of false news or defamation? Which one would you be doing?
I'll have to consider. I'll have to speak to him about this. But yes, definitely defamation, and we'll look into it.
I don't remember my media law notes back from GIJ very well, but I'm quite sure that appeal to authority is a defense in defamation. And if you are publishing documents that is published by a statutory institution, that is to an extent. For instance, if you publish the proceedings of Parliament and they are defamatory, that defamation would not affect you as a media house. Have you considered this? And the same could apply to the Auditor-General being an office of state.
So the defenses that you are alluding to would include comments and the Reynolds defense, both of which are quite technical. I don't think that this evening show or this evening news is a platform for us to get into the technicalities of it. I will say that the key finding which has to be made here is whether or not the fourth estate, in publishing this article about my client, if they had an honest belief in the truth of the statement in question, or if they were reckless as to whether the statement, the publication was true or false. Now, in these circumstances, the question that I will leave with you and with your listeners is, can there be said to have been an honest belief in the truth of the publication in question if there was reason to believe that there was contradictory evidence? If the structure of the publication itself were calibrated to instill in folks of ordinary intelligence a belief in the guilt of the subject of the investigation, if the introduction of extraneous, material in the publication itself had any effect on priming the public against my public, and why such conduct was engaged in respect of the publication. If the answers to these questions lead to a finding of malice, it would be no defense to say that I was only publishing something that the Auditor-General had published, especially if you had reason to believe that the statement that you were publishing were false.
Very well. We wish you all the best, and thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you for having me, Umar.
That's Prince Ganako, his lawyer for Frank Oliver Kpodo, a public servant, a civil servant, whose name made the headlines after the Auditor-General report suggested that he had received as much as actually over 400 million cedis in an earned salary, which report was published by the Fourth Estate. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Talking about state institutions and unearthing monies that have been wrongfully paid, the Public Accounts Committee is in the Brong and Ahafo regions. That's where it's carried its sittings to, and a lot of things have been coming up. The
Public Accounts Committee has directed the Sunyani West Municipal Assembly to refund 116,000 Ghana cedis over the illegal transfer of public funds as end-of-service benefits. During sittings, the committee's zonal hearing in Kumasi on the 2024 Auditor-General's report, the Assembly admitted transferring 135,000 cedis without legal backing, noting that 19,000 cedis has already been refunded. The committee ordered the remaining amount to be paid within 30 days, warning of possible sanctions for non-compliance.
Sunyani West, I think it's just two infractions that you were cited for. This one and then the high cost of revenue collection. So did this matter come up?
Yes, Madam Chair. And
you didn't know that the woman was, your internal auditor was part of the management that took a decision to use 135,000 Ghana cedis of DACF to pay the end of service benefits of assembly members and later refund the money into the DACF account. Did you know or you didn't know?
Madam, I knew that it was the responsibility of the assembly as a unit to pay.
Want is the reimbursement of the difference. When is it going to be done?
Honorable Chair, I had a discussion with two lands. We also get small IGF from there. I've spoken with them and we are going to use that one to repay the amount.
When?
As soon as we go.
I don't want as soon. This is more than a year old. The report was brought to Parliament in June 2025, but the actual occurred in December 2024, and the DFO said management agreed to pay in 6 months. So respectfully, today is 21st of April. Within 30 days, we want the monies paid and the receipts given to the regional rep of the audit service and a copy sent to the Public Accounts Committee.
You heard excerpts of the Public Accounts Committee's hearing in Kumasi involving an official of the Sunyani West Municipal Assembly.
So I think I inadvertently said Brong and Ahafo or Bono region.
Yes,
it's actually Ashanti region.
Right.
Apologies for that. But they are in the Western region today, are they not?
They are.
Okay. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM, and we have footprint across, so Ashanti, Western, and all of the places. How can people listen to Eyewitness News outside Accra?
In the Western region, we're live on Beach 105.5 FM and Sky 93.5 FM, both in Takrade. In the Bono region, tune into Greener 95.9 FM in Sunyane. In the Hafa region, it's Hammers Radio 106.5 FM in Gosso. In the Ashanti region, we're also live on Focus 94.3 FM in Kumasi and Orange 107.9 FM in Kumasi. In the Volta region, tune into Revival 99.3 FM in Tajewu. In the Northern region, you can also tune into Radio Bimbila 91.9 FM. In the Upper East, we're live on Pure 100.5 FM, Bolga 102.7 FM, and Gunzang 90.1 FM. In the Upper West region, you can also tune into Tungsong 97.3 FM in Wa.
This Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Akapo Junior and Hafomim says once the government and its cohorts are bent on removing the SB and the office, the less talk about it, the better, as nothing will change the decision to oust the ASP. Aziz Donla in WA says, I'm fully convinced now that the OSP should be scrapped completely because since its inception, there has not been results to point to. Can you give your audience one case OSP has won as an independent body since 2018? I'll give you that as an assignment, Aziz. Go and find it. I like NDC as a party, but I can't support what's wrong. I also want the president to declare his stance on this OSP matter. They should amend that portion of the constitution so that the office will be completely independent. This is from Atanunya Azee Christian from Aflao. What at all is the minorities' problem? They left power just 15 months ago, but still have the guts to oppose everything this government is doing. They should give us a break. That's Philus or Philus from Tema. As much as I agree that we must not do anything to jeopardize the work of the OSP and make sure the issue between the OSP and the AG is resolved, I also believe that the minority have no integrity to accuse the government of wrongdoing. That's Jones Aduboy in La. Blewubi Nana Kwame in Adenta says, I want to know which particular case the Attorney General has prosecuted so far since he came into office for us to add the cases at the OSP to the Attorney General's office. Daniel Akpaliok in Sandema says, the New Patriotic Party must stop politicizing issues surrounding the office of the Special Prosecutor. Instead of turning a critical anti-corruption institution into a political football, they should put their best foot forward to contribute meaningfully towards fine-tuning and strengthening it to effectively serve its purpose. Wales Yoga in Ho West says the minority's claim is misleading. The government is not scrapping the OSP. It is complying with the decision of the High Court. This is Eyewitness News.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Je m'appelle.
Je m'appelle.
Je m'appelle.
Mappe. Et mappe. Hey, Asamo. French, you dear. This is midi croissant.
Meet Aja. She makes sobolo in a small shop in Kaswa. She's going places with MTN Ejumapa. Now, she's learning French kakra to teach her francophone customers indigenous recipes.
Watashi no namae wa?
Watashi no na my boy.
Whoa. She's learning Japanese too? Watashi. What? If you're a woman with a small business, join MTN Ejumapa today by dialing *5060# and enjoy 150 megabytes data, a lifestyle bundle for social media, free MTN to MTN calls every Monday, and an insurance cover. You will also gain access to expert training, discounts on digital tools, and financial support to grow the business of your dreams. Terms and conditions apply. MTN.
Yes, you're not alone. Your taps have not been running always. You've done everything, but there seems to be no way. You spend too much money buying water from other sources. Now listen, you're not alone this time around. The good news is, Priority Water Limited will pump purified and super clean water through your taps for drinking, cooking, and for other household needs. If you live in a gated community or within an estate, give them a call and you will be happy you did. Priority Water Limited will install water purification system in your community and supply everyone constant clean water throughout the year. Gated communities and high-rise apartments can now enjoy super clean water every day. Give them a call at 0200608404 or 0202185445. Priority Water Limited. We live on water.
Look
Looking for engineering excellence you can trust? Welcome to Left Signature Limited, driving progress through technology and engineering excellence. From expert electrical engineering design, installation, power systems, renewable energy, automation and control, to reliable data center and managed services, power infrastructure, network connectivity, server virtualization, cloud integration and data security, and cutting-edge software development, custom business applications, web and mobile apps, cloud and DevOps solutions. Integrity, safety, accountability, teamwork. That's the Left Signature promise. And now, introducing the Left Power app. Request for our services anytime, anywhere. Available on the Play Store, App Store, and on the web. Ready to power your success? Choose Left Signature Limited. Visit www.leftsignature.com. Call +233 256 111 811. Left Signature Limited. Engineering excellence for a connected future.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
You're welcome back. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. If you go to citinewsroom.com, there's a story that we have up there for you. And it's titled, Nearly 100 Unlicensed Delivery Riders Impounded in Accra. That's a story by Fauzu Masawudo. The Postal and Courier Services Regulatory Commission has impounded nearly 100 unlicensed motorbike couriers operating in Accra. Edwin Yeboah Bergeson is Public Relations Manager for the Postal and Courier Services Regulatory Commission. Sir, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Sander.
Did I pronounce your surname well?
So the surname is Bergeson. Yeboah Edwin Bergeson.
Oh, you are done. What's happening? Why have you gone to small thing that the people want to eat on the road, do delivery here, carry food here and there? You've gone to arrest and stop their vehicles from moving. Why? What have they done wrong?
Oh, so Sandra, we just didn't go there to do that. You recall, somewhere last year, I think around August last year, there was a similar exercise that the Commission undertook. And the Honorable Minister of Communications, Digital Technology and Innovation, under whose ministry we are, placed a moratorium on the enforcement exercise. And he gave certain directives during that time. Notable among those were the need for us to come up with a digital platform on which all postal and courier operators would register, get licensed, and then also offer their services. So that directive has been adhered to, and operators were required from the 1st of January to the 31st of March to go on that platform and regularize their activities. A lot of engagements were done during that period, and effective 1st April this year, the minister gave the permission for enforcement to resume. So if we were on the streets this morning or the whole of the day today, we were there carrying out a directive from the minister and also a mandate given to the commission by the act that establishes that.
I see. What are some of the infractions that you encountered?
All right, so we found, as we suspected, many companies as well as individuals offering delivery services without license. We have been observing the space and the number of motorbikes and the names that we come across that are not familiar to us were those that we were seeking to intercept and where the need was, impound those vehicles and then get the people to commence processes to regularize their activities. We also realized that there were some people who were carrying different items in one receptacle. A case in point was someone who was carrying, there were some metals and there was a food in his backpack, which in the first place is wrong. I mean, you don't need to offer delivery services with your backpack when you're offering food service delivery. So these are some of the things. And the worst thing that we always find is the shabby nature that the couriers, dress to offer the services that they provide.
Do you have a prescribed uniform or dress code for riders?
So when courier services began in the country, the trailblazers, the likes of Ghana Post, the DHLs, the FedExes, the RMXs of this world, the Skynet, I can go on and on. They kit their delivery people, and to date they continue to do so. But we realized that the youth who have entered into the space really do not pay attention to how they present themselves. They are not well dressed, and they carry whatever they are delivering in any receptacle at all they find. And that is not acceptable.
But you see, if you haven't given them a standard to adhere to, and you are just saying because others have done it, in their mind, what they are wearing is actually very decent. If you think that it is wrong, then you should come up with a code of conduct or dress code that they should abide by. But to the extent that you do not have that, you cannot enforce a non-existent law.
So we actually have it. So when we started engagement from effective last August 2025, all these things came up for discussion. How they are dressing themselves, how they are being identified, the groups in which they work from. Mind you, when this new administration came into office, they elected, to regularize the activities of the Okada, the large Okada services in the country. Delivery is part of what these guys do. So we realized that because they were doing the Okada before they, venture into delivery, they have carried on into the courier space what the attitude used to be when they were conducting solely Okada services. So we've engaged them, and they all understand and agree to the fact that they need to be catered and they need to present themselves much more than they are doing now.
Okay, so these bags that you have seized or impounded, are you going to take them through training, the riders, and give them back to them, or they would have to pay a fine? What happens to them before they will get their bikes back so they can get food to eat?
Right. So per the act that establishes the commission, when your bike is impounded for operating firstly without a license issued by the commission, there's a fine. There's a penalty that you pay. So those who want to have their bikes back make that payment. Then they are taken through the processes to regularize their activities. Yes, you spoke about training. These are sessions that we hold for licensed operators known to the commission. These are some of the things that they enjoy. So when they come on board, they also get to enjoy those things. And we will continue with these enforcement programs at unannounced dates, because what information we need to put out there we have, particularly with our engagements with the various groups that they have formed they themselves.
Thank you so much for speaking to us, sir.
Right. Thank you for having us.
That's Edwin Niebua Bergeson. He is Public Relations Manager for the Postal and Courier Service Regulatory Commission. Up next, we have business news on Eyewitness News, which is brought to you by Republic Bank. We are the one for you. Join the Republic verse. Do more, shine more. Big up.
Mr. Kojo, 1 minute before you go to work. The AC you said you want to fix, it won't work.
Why?
Because the electrician will come and chisel my wall. It will make my building weak. Wait, is that a puppy? No animals in my house, oh.
Kojo knows all the challenges about renting. That was his reality until he discovered Republic Bank. With Republic Bank's flexible mortgage solutions, you can move from tenant to homeowner quickly. Imagine stepping into your own home, a place for your family to grow and create memories. Big up. Join the Republic Verse. Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. Citi Business News. Be informed.
Time now for Citi Business News on Eyewitness News. I am Ejubi Wiafe Akintin. Let's settle for the details. The Ghana Chamber of Mines has renewed calls for the complete removal of the Growth and Sustainability Levy on mining companies, arguing that the current fiscal regime places a heavy burden on the sector and threatens its long-term competitiveness. The Chamber, in a statement, said although the government's decision to reduce the levy from 3% to 1% is a step in the right direction, it does not go far enough to ease the cumulative tax pressures facing mining firms.
According to the industry group, the Growth and Sustainability Levy is imposed on mineral revenue alongside other fiscal instruments such as mineral royalties, corporate income tax, and dividends from the state's free carried interest, which together push the sector's effective tax rate close to 60%. The chamber noted that both mineral royalties and the levy are applied to gross revenue and are not sensitive to operational costs, meaning they place additional strain on mining companies, particularly high-cost, mature or marginal mines. It warned that excessive reliance on overlapping revenue-based taxes could undermine Ghana's attractiveness as a mining destination and potentially reduce government revenue over time if investment and production decline. The chamber also defended Ghana's mining fiscal framework, stating that the country operates a royalty tax regime rather than a royalty-only system. Under this framework, government revenue is generated through multiple channels, including mineral royalties, ranging from 5 to 12%, the Growth and Sustainability Levy, and a 35% corporate income tax. The industry body further rejected suggestions that Ghana's mining taxation model is outdated, insisting that the royalty tax framework is widely used in major mining jurisdictions around the world. While acknowledging the government's need to mobilize revenue, the chamber stressed the importance of balancing short-term fiscal objectives with sustainability of the mining sector. It therefore urged policymakers to undertake a broader review of the levy and the sliding scale royalty regime to safeguard investment and long-term revenue generation. The chamber maintained that fiscal stability and competitiveness are critical for sustaining investment in Ghana's capital-intensive mining industry and ensuring that mineral resources continue to support economic growth and national development.
That was a Business Desk report filed by Daniel Sakite. Now, the Public Procurement Authority says a new amendment before Parliament will address long-standing gaps in Ghana's procurement law, particularly on single-source contracting. Board Chairman Basil Ahiable says after 23 years of implementing the Public Procurement Act, ambiguities in key provisions have led to consistent interpretation and loopholes. He explains that unclear definitions, especially around single sourcing and the term urgency, have complicated enforcement, with budget delays often forcing institutions into emergency procurement.
The board has recommended, and working with the Honourable Minister, a bill has been forwarded to Parliament to redefine what agency is. Under Section 41B, it talks about agency. What is really urgent? Those are the issues. And that is the section that mostly others would want to come. Budgetary pressures, late releases. There's an entity that comes and says, look, we just had our release, and that if you want to go the full haul, you will not be able to complete before the year. But we know the law also says that if by the end of the year you've not received and paid for, you lose that budget. So the interpretation has been very hazy, and there were times as a board we struggled to give meaning to it. This bill is going to finalize it without any debate what an urgent situation will be. And once that is done, the board will be so guided and ensure that we work within the new definition of agency. And I think it's going to be good for all of us.
That was the board chair of the Public Procurement Authority, Basil Ahiable. Now, Ghana's renewed push to tap diaspora funding through bond investments is facing fresh scrutiny, with lingering concerns over the Domestic Debt Exchange Program, DDEP, casting a shadow over investor confidence. The caution comes despite strong momentum in remittance inflows and the Bank of Ghana's plans to channel diaspora funds into structured investment vehicles to support long-term development financing. In an interview with Citi Business News, banking consultant Dr. Richmond Ituahene warns that while the numbers are encouraging, structural weaknesses and trust deficits remain a major hurdle.
Well, looking at what the governor has said himself, that remittances in 2025 rose from 4.8 billion to 7.8. It means there's still room for improvement. And I believe if we can track and trace, as I've always been saying, all remittances, at least it will be easy for us not to even go to capital markets. Because countries like Ethiopia, did a similar thing for build a dam, at least about 4-point-something billion. They're able to securitize the remittances to be able to. I mean, once bitten, twice shy. And don't forget, when we did the DDEP, it's not only Ghanaians. You know, the part of it was foreign domicile bonds by Ghanaians outside. And some of them have lost money. If they haven't lost money, we're talking about repayment instead of 2027 going to 2035. I mean, that is where the problem is, to be able to ginger the confidence again, so that should somebody buy that bond, he's assured that you get maybe a return of 5% or 2% over a year, and at the same time you get its principal or the principal of maturity. Although the economic variables look very good, but there are other things in it that needs to be also looked at.
You heard banking consultant Dr. Richmond Ituahine. And that's all for Citi Business News on Eyewitness News, brought to you by Republic Bank. With the one for you, join the Republic verse, do more, shine more, big up. I am Ejibi Wiafe Akinti. Many thanks for listening. Up next is Point Blank.
Momo. It has made life happen in lots of good ways.
Mr. Kwanzaa, Mr. Insurance claim no.
It has put together beautiful weddings. It has filled the bellies of boys at their favorite watchy joint.
My guy, stop. Who they chop cancel these days?
It has made millions of businesses possible.
No. We are back in business.
With just a few taps, money moves faster, easier, and safer. Momo understands the weight of your trust in us. We continuously enhance security with features like self-paying reset to help you protect your money. Momo will only call you with 0244 300,000. No MTN or Momo staff will call or ask for your PIN or one-time password. Do not transfer funds to anyone whose identity you have not verified. Do not approve any prompts you have not initiated. Momo, still Wunsaka.
This damn patch again. Ebo, look at this wall. Every few months, the same damn patch comes back. I've painted it twice already. What is all this? Kofi, you can't find moisture with paint too. The problem is inside the building itself. Yes. So what can I do? The house is already finished. Simple. Gasem Super Strong Waterproof Cement. It's a new cement with built-in water protection technology. Water protection? Yes. So it's just for repairs? No, my friend. That's the difference. Use it to fix dampness and seepage. Or use it for new buildings. Foundation, block work, plastering. One cement that builds and protects.
Wow.
Gasm Super Strong Waterproof Cement. The one cement that builds and protects. Build it right once. Gasm, the nation builder.
Kuma has always dreamt of commanding his own military forces.
Attention! Eyes right, stand at ease.
Because that dream is still a vision in progress, he spends his time commanding his money with the EcoBank mobile app.
Operation Supplier Payment. Dispatch 1,000 units of currency from Accra to Benin. Move!
Sometimes he wants a little extra control so that he can buy only what he needs.
Command Center mobile app. Activate virtual card protocol and initiate payments for sneakers and t-shirts. Abort mission for leather coat payment.
Even when the general is fast asleep, his standing order marches out to sort his bills. With the EcoBank mobile app, you can command your money to make safe transactions in Ghana and across 33 African countries. Download the EcoBank mobile app on the Play or App Store today.
By the left, about turn.
EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank. EcoBank will never call or send an SMS asking for your PIN, OTP, bank card, or Ghana card details.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
I am Omaru Sanda Amado. Tonight on Point Blank, I'm having a conversation with the National Youth Authority. An interesting personality, a friend and a brother, who is a deputy CEO in charge of finance and administration at the National Youth Authority, is my guest. A very active politician, Jacob Adongo Atule. You're welcome to Point Blank.
Thank you. Good evening to your cherished listeners, and permit me to say the following courtesies to my minister, the Honorable Pablo Jojo Paredo, Minister for Youth Development and Empowerment, to my boss, the lawyer, architect, engineer, Usman Ayarga, and to Delight Konu at Hohoi.
Who is Delight Konu at Hohoi?
Oh, I've greeted everyone. Why have you asked?
Because the people you have mentioned,
no, but why have
you have given their attributes and their title? Who is Delight Konu?
Oh, she's a friend, very active, young friend, passionate about me, and I need to recognize her as such.
Jacob, please explain the
no, I'm sure that has been expressly explained.
No, actually, no. Do you speak ever?
No, I don't.
Because Konu means to laugh.
Oh, okay.
And delight, of course, is delight, English.
Oh, okay. So she has that. I will have to find out the name.
So Delight Konu has been making you laugh. I want to know what kind of things Delight Konu.
I think the name is very interesting. I'll have to find out from her the name and the delight and the Konu. I think it makes perfect finding out.
Does she work with NYA?
These are, I don't get this. The drift of this question.
I know the people you've greeted. But this person, I don't know.
Should I add more?
No, it's in the interest of the public. We pay you, taxpayers pay you. They want to know who is Delight Konu.
No, Delight Konu is just like I have stated expressly. She's a very good friend, passionate follower of me, very passionate about what I do, my successes and the like. And I needed to just celebrate her. That's all.
Jacob, your voice is very nice. You should have been on radio. You should have been a radio presenter.
When I was growing up as a child, I used to do commentary. Even though I couldn't see, I would imitate commentators, and if I do it looked so nice. And so if I was seen or if I was excited, probably I would have been a commentator. And so I'm passionate about football. My favorite team, Chelsea, is not doing too well.
That's a shame that you support Chelsea.
Of course, but Arsenal too. I wanted Arsenal to have won the league. Unfortunately, they have broken my heart.
You support Arsenal and Chelsea?
No, Arsenal is just, I'm just pathetic to them because they have tried several times to win the league, but it looks like this league is eluding them again.
Because we are on radio, when you say you can't see, what does that really mean? Because not many people are listening to us on radio. What's the name of your village?
I'm from Natunia, and I would like to say shout out from...
No. You've already sent shout out to Howe. Somebody in Howe. Instead of your village, you decide to greet a lady in Howe.
If I don't say hi to the chief of Natunia,
you will not say
if I step out, I will not be forgiven.
Delight Konu has received the greeting.
Hi to the chief of Natunia and everyone from Natunia.
Someone listening to you in Nakpandori on a small radio set has heard you say that you cannot see. It means you're physically,
I am visually impaired. I'm blind.
Impaired.
In fact, I am 100% blind.
You can't see.
Not at all.
And you have been like this from
birth.
And you have been this active in politics.
Well, I hope I am active, if that's what you're describing.
I remember meeting you on a demonstration before.
Absolutely.
NDC was doing some demonstration many years ago, and I saw you on the street.
Absolutely. I have participated in almost every demonstration that were organized after Legon. In fact, I was demonstrating in Legon, and after Legon, I've been demonstrating till now. I mean, you need to always express your views on issues if you don't agree. And I'm not the quiet type. If I feel strong about matters, I join and pronounce them in a manner that will make me happy.
Do you not think you're risking your life sometimes, walking in a very chaotic demonstration, the fire tear gas and all those things?
The decision to eat fufu has an element of risk in it. You can eat fufu and get choked by a bone and you die. And so even eating fufu has an element of risk. So demonstrations, yes, may be riskier, may be higher riskier or whatever you may term them, but it doesn't mean you should quail. Many times I've always told my colleagues with disabilities or visual impaired, look, it is time for us to step out of the box, step out of our comfort zone and join the system. Because if you cry that you are not included, and you don't want to include yourself in the system, no one will recognize you and include you. So it is better to step out there. There's nowhere that is comfort. You can be in your room and earthquake will come and you go. I mean, so please, there's really no comfort in sitting in a comfort place whilst you are dying and suffocating.
How do you deal with mobility issues? Do you use a white cane? Do you have someone aiding you, or you manage to move on your own?
When I was at Legon, I could navigate every theater hall, every lecture hall
on campus
without being aided or being helped with a white cane or whatever. But now I think my current responsibility has kept me a lot of thoughts and whatever to try to think out solutions for the young people of this country. So, I have a lot of people around me, sometimes my aides and whatever, assisting me. But when I was upcoming and as a young, man or as a boy, I was very much independent.
So what's your profession?
My profession?
As in, like, what did you study in university?
Oh, I did political science, sociology.
Okay.
And organizational development as my master's.
Is this your first appointment?
I was appointed first by John Evans Mills as the Deputy National Coordinator for the then National Youth Employment Program, now Youth Employment Agency.
YEA?
Yes, YEA.
So you served as NYEP?
Yes, NYEP.
Before you became JIDA?
Yes, when we transited to JIDA and YEA, I was then the Director of Gender and Disability at the Youth Employment Agency until my recent appointment.
So what's the difference between YEA and the National Youth Authority?
The YEA is more on employment. I mean, focusing on providing jobs for young Ghanaians, people that, so it's a job-oriented organization.
Okay.
The National Youth Authority is into training, skills provision. We provide skills for young people and put them up to become entrepreneurs, put them up to become self-employed. We also change the mindset of young people. We look at, how to ensure that young people make the right decisions. Young people have education on a lot of health matters, drug abuse, and all these things. It is a mandate of the National Youth Authority to ensure that young people, are given the right skills to make decisions for themselves. And then also the National Youth Authority ensures that young people participate in the governance architecture of our country. So we are able to form organizations for young people, register young people, organizations with young people, and ensure that they participate in the political activities, they participate in the social activities, and find decent jobs as such.
The National Apprenticeship Program, that's under the National Youth Authority?
Absolutely.
How is that coming?
No, the National Apprenticeship Program is doing very well. As I talk to you, we have rolled out 14,833 beneficiaries into the National Youth the Apprenticeship Program. So let's say 14,000 plus, some few 14,000 plus beneficiaries. And out of these numbers, 283 of them, 2,083 of them are master craft persons that have skills in all the master crafts that we can talk about, including tiling, hairdressing, designing, fitting, almost all the master craft persons you can talk about. We've gathered them and assigned apprentices to them. We are not allowing them to go and train, for skills that are not needed. So the skills are trained in the locality that you are. So if you are from Natunia, per se, we would find apprentices in Natunia and give you the necessary training, the necessary skill to join the Natunia apprentices, learn and become a master craft person, so that you can also find decent jobs for yourself.
And when I finish the training, do you give me, say, a sewing machine if I learned that, or you just let me
Even before you start, we've distributed training kits to all the master craft persons and the apprentices. We've given them training kits so they can train, because we don't want it to be like business as usual, where we throw a lot of money. I have an experience of where some funds previously were thrown in, and the results wasn't as good as we anticipated. So here we have decided that we will give training kits, and we have provided training kits for them to ensure that they train effectively and efficiently, so that when they come out, we would as well provide them with some support to establish their businesses. Not only the support as in money or whatever, but when they want to set the containers, whatever they want to set, we will set them up and ensure that they are actually working, and we'll put them into cooperatives. We'll put them together and ensure that people find where they are. Even so, we are anticipating that at the end of our training, we will have to be exporting some of our skills into our neighboring countries to ensure that our beneficiaries or those that we have trained would be very much employable.
So you set the person up completely. So if you train me into dressmaking, you set up a kiosk for me?
Absolutely. And then we will give you, let's say if you are a hairdresser, we'll give you the hair gears, we'll give you everything you need to work to be successful.
I see. And this number that you mentioned earlier as a number that you have enrolled, would that be it, or every year?
Not every year. In fact, it depends on the training of the particular mastercraft person.
Mm-hmm.
Some take 6 months, some take even 3 months.
So as soon as they finish, you take a new group of people.
Absolutely. May will be 1 year since the National Apprenticeship Program was launched. Somewhere around 30 of that, we launched the President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, launched the National Apprenticeship Program in Tamale. And so next month, you would invite people who will pass out a lot of our beneficiaries and take new ones on board.
Okay.
As I talk to you, over 200,000 young people have already registered to take part in the National Apprenticeship Program.
Interesting.
Unfortunately, we don't have the resources to do all of them at once, and that is our biggest challenge.
Okay, let's talk about infrastructural projects, the youth centers of excellence that you talked about.
Yes.
The 10 youth resource centers that were started are not completed.
Yes.
Why?
Because of funding. We usually draw our funding largely from the common fund.
The District Assembly
common fund.
Oh, really? You take a percentage of
absolutely. 5% of it is meant for the National Youth Authority to use for such activities, and then also use for youth development activities. Mm-hmm. So that, for example, if we have a youth group that want to embark on an activity or a program, you write to us, we look at it. If you meet our criteria and you are registered with the National Youth Authority, we sponsor you. Unfortunately, this year and last year we were given nearly 0.5% of the common fund, and this year Parliament passed the formula without the National Youth Authority.
You were forgotten?
So, I don't want to say we were forgotten. Maybe.
Who's your minister? You said that Pablo is your minister.
Absolutely.
He didn't go to fight for your rights.
No, he did. I mean.
Or Osman Ayariga. That's your boss.
No, that's my boss. I mean, we all did. It's not only the NY that didn't get. The Youth Employment Agency also have. 10% of the common fund didn't get this year. I don't know, whether it's a serious escape or whatever. So, I mean, when the parliamentarians come to office from both sides, from both MPP and NDC come to our office, lobby for opportunities, lobby for us to increase the apprenticeship training program, because the training is not meant for only NDC people. We are bringing on board everyone. I mean, for Ghanaians, we tell them that go back to Parliament and review the formula so that we get the funds. Because if we don't have the funds, we can't deliver. That is a serious problem.
But that's a serious oversight then.
Absolutely. I mean,
is there a way it can be rectified?
It's a lacuna. I hope that the budget review that will happen somewhere around June, they would find a way of rectifying that, because it's a serious lacuna that a whole, it's a constitutional imperative. After all, I mean, it's an act of Parliament that was passed that gave us 5% and then 10% to the Youth Employment Agency. So for Parliament to make the allocation without, talking about it is actually, I think, a serious oversight that I guess will be looked at.
There was something people talked about at NYA, which is a youth parliament.
Yes.
What was that about? Because it's not working, it's inactive.
Yes, it's all boils down to funding and it's related.
It seems like you people have been abandoned as your office.
You see, it's not.
The last time I went to your office, it was abandoned. I don't know whether
that's not true.
I don't know whether it's renovated now.
Well, it's the new one that we've
the one at the Azuma
Nelson complex. Yes, but you can see that we've almost completed a new complex almost at the same facility. At the same facility.
Oh, okay.
And so
I haven't been there in a long time.
Subject to funding, Come and visit us. You love visiting us. We are the workers at NYA.
You are a Siberia office. I don't
There are a lot of the young men and women are very active, very up to your work. And if you come, you will love the work environment. Very corporate environment, providing jobs for young people. And so our building, has
the youth parliament thing. So what were you trying to do?
No, so the youth parliament, we want to ensure that young people have a forum to debate national issues and discuss issues that affect them without political coloration or whatever. And so we provided an opportunity for young people to have parliament. I mean, even we wanted to do what we are doing it from the districts throughout to national, so that young people at Bunkuru, young people at Navrongo Central or Navrongo Municipality or Pagachana will have an opportunity to debate and even debate the local issues upwards to the national, so that issues will take it. But like I said, it's funding. Funding has been a major challenge. The common fund has been dropping down since 2023 and then virtually dried up in 2026 because no allocation was made to us. And so it's a real problem, but I am very definite that, the work Honorable Pablo has done, trying to push the Minister of Finance and the Common Fund Secretary. I want to believe that the next review will be looked at.
Okay. How are you dealing with wastage in your office at NYA?
We
dealing with wastage, yeah.
No, we are one of the
efficiency and all of that.
Yes, we are one of the organizations that have never been dragged to the Public Accounts Committee. I mean, so it should tell you what we are doing.
What they forgotten about you?
No, I mean,
or maybe they don't give you budget, so
but we have people that have about 100,000 allocation for a year, yet 90% of it goes to waste. We at the NYA have been very effective and efficient at managing resources, and so all the systems have been activated to ensure that no infraction, deliberate infraction happens, and we are also ensuring that we don't award contracts without, the necessary authorities approving PPA, without, the Ministry of Finance giving commitment authorization and all that. We are ensuring that we don't waste what we don't have already, because already, as I have told you, we don't have our budget line is very, very minimal. I mean, this year we were allocated over, I think, 150 million Ghana cedis for the National Apprenticeship Program. That is woefully inadequate. Last year, our allocation was 300 million, and this year it's been slashed, down by 2. So it becomes very difficult for us. And so our focus, as soon as we got to office, my boss, Usman Yarga, told us that it won't be business as usual. That we come to the office, and then 5 o'clock, then we close. That no, we won't do that. We should look at how to really work on to ensure that young people of this country find decent jobs after they have learned. So we are not only looking at government funding, we are exploring other ways to ensure that
it's good you've talked about government funding. So how else are you getting money? And I'm asking you this because Divine Agohome.
Yes.
Who is he? Divine Agohome, you know him?
Is it the Great Accra?
Yes, Great Accra MPP chairman of MPP chairman. Great Accra. He sent a message. He says, Mami Esi, owner of a fashion school, is listening to you now, and would like to know how she can be signed on as a trainer.
Okay, so it's very simple.
But I'm sure maybe she's MPP, or you are not.
No, we don't really mind. Like I told you,
if you know she's MPP, you give her.
No, but many of the people that come to my office are even MPP MPs. They come and take the opportunities. We don't discriminate.
Okay.
Once you're a young Ghanaian, you have trained, we will bring you on board so that you can help train our people. And
how can such a person roll onto your?
So it's just simple. You go to our portals and register. The forms are there, where you can walk into any of our offices and pick a form and register, and then we'll take you on board. The second batch of beneficiaries will be enrolled somewhere around May, and so once we just do, we will take you on board. And the thing about the National Apprenticeship Program is that apart from paying the trainers, we also pay the beneficiaries. Those who are learning, we pay them some allowances to ensure that they stay at home and learn, because some of them end up paying to learn a trade or job, and then midway they run away because they don't have funding or they don't have money to keep themselves afloat to learn. So we take the training cost, and then we also pay some stipends to learn.
How is the Youth Authority Ensuring that youth in rural and underserved communities benefit equally from your programs.
Many of the apprentices we have taken are from the underserved communities. If you look at our data, we have a lot of them from the upper regions, northern region, upper east, upper west, Volta, northeast, in that order, Savannah, and in that order, because many of them, we don't want to encourage rural urban drift. We want people to stay in their communities and learn, and so we have taken the jobs to them, and the forms were not only online; they were also at the district assemblies, and we also gave some to community leaders like chiefs, like assembly members, to bring some. And so it was a holistic process that we went through selecting the people.
Okay. You are a person with disability yourself.
Yes.
At the YEA and the NYA, you talked about opportunities for rural areas.
Yes.
What about vulnerable groups, women, persons with disabilities, people in the informal sector? How?
So fortunately, I met a boss, Usman Erega, who is very conscious about disability. And so when I went, it was very easy for me. And so anyone that applied and was a person with disability was picked for the first badge of trainees and master craft persons. Because over there, I told myself and I told my workers that my success in that office would determine what opportunity I would have created for my colleagues with disabilities. And so I won't come and sit in the office without creating opportunities for persons with disabilities. So I made sure that anyone that was a person with disability and applied to join the National Youth Authority mastercraft, the training, apprenticeship training, was considered and taken.
Okay.
And not only that, I made sure that we have formed an organization for youth with disabilities to ensure that their issues are also brought on board. When we are traveling for any international programs that have to do with young people, we include them. We're having any other program that have to do with young people, we include them. So my place is more like a model practice of inclusivity because of my situation as a visually impaired person.
Jacob Adongo Atule, Deputy CEO in charge of Finance and Administration at the National Youth Authority. Thank you so much for joining us on Prime Black.
Thank you for having me.
And please send my regards to Delight Konu when you go.
Oh, mischievous.
That'll be for Eyewitness News tonight. I am Umar Rosanda Amadu. I did this with Jubilee Afia Kentin, produced by Kobina Wilson, Beverly London, Juliana Odami Asari, and Christopher Kevin Esima. Technical support from Desmond Nyako, new media support from Edwin Kwakofi and the new media team. We'll be back tomorrow at 17:30 GMT. Thank you for listening and have a good night.